Lindsey Crosby, Auburn baseball. You got your broom out? You got the broom out for the sweep? First sweep in 3 years? That seems so long. I would not have guessed that going into it, but hey, they found a way to get it done.
Yeah, and it's, if you think about it, last year, tough season. Butch has talked about that. 2020, you lost most of the season, so right. 2019. But no, what we saw this weekend, a lot of, whether it's coming from behind, scoring late, pitching, sticking into it, and then you saw a lot of two specific guys in the bullpen, Carson Skipper and closer Blake Burkhalter. Those three guys throw all 3 games.
They tried to do different things. They tried to hand it off to other guys, but bad stuff kept happening.
Yeah, and in the end, it all came back to Skipper and Burkhalter coming in here and shutting it down, and Auburn gets a sweep. And the thing that I love now is Auburn is in a good position to get a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament and then to potentially be able to host a regional as we get to postseason. You got 4 SEC series left, and this team was voted by media to be worse than the SEC. We're talking about them possibly hosting a regional.
Yeah.
You'll love to see it.
Yep, and fighting for a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament up in Hoover in a few weeks. Crazy. And boy, do they have their work cut out for them over the next few weekends. We'll talk about that in just a second. But let's look at the sweep. You mentioned the bullpen. Obviously, huge weekends for the bullpen, specifically Skipper and Burkhalter. But who else stood out to you? Who else made this sweep possible, Lindsey?
So catcher Nate LaRue just went absolutely nuclear this week. And he's a guy that...
Nuclear Nate?
Butch Thompson has talked about as like this is the most he's gotten to be involved on a day-to-day basis in his college career. And as he's been doing that, he's been getting better and better, whether it's offensively, his defense is getting even better. So this weekend, 4 for 8, 5 RBIs, 1 home run, a double, a stolen base, and a defensive caught stealing, which I believe he's either 6 for 8 on the season at catching base runners or 8 for 10. But either way, you don't steal against Nate LaRue, which is not something that you can say for a lot of catchers in general. I think in MLB, the success rate's around 30 or so % on catching bait stealers. So him being at 75% is pretty nice.
Delicious.
Just great weekend. Calls a good game, gets the pitchers in a good tempo, and really is able to help them hit their marks, help them stay on pace, and help them get over the occasional bad or non-competitive pitch.
Right.
So huge part of the weekend was Nate LaRue.
Yeah, that's exciting. What about a pitcher? You want to single out a pitcher from this weekend?
You lobbed up the ball for me to crush it on Joseph Gonzalez. I know you did.
Talk about him. You can talk about him.
I would say we can
share that stat that you told me before we started recording.
Okay. So Joseph Gonzalez now has 3 consecutive starts of at least 7 innings pitched with no walks.
Stupid.
He has pitched 24 innings in the last 3 SEC series with a total of 4 earned runs, no walks. He is Auburn's
imagine being pitcher, a batter in the last month and being walked by Joseph Gonzalez? Because I can't imagine that.
Literally nobody knows what that feels like.
Yep, it's crazy stuff.
Even Jolene disagrees. So, but no, like Joseph Gonzalez, and I've been talking about Gonzalez now for a year and a half. I feel like, you've heard this from me. I do want to give props to Blake Burkhalter. And he's been in a position where he's had to throw 3 consecutive days. He threw on Tuesday. He got the win on Tuesday. So he's thrown in 4 games this week. But this weekend, 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and 3 saves, which gives him 11 on the season, which leads the SEC in saves.
That's crazy. Crazy. If you want to buy his shirt, by the way, closing time, aushirts.com.
aushirts.com. It's actually really funny. He talked about that. So on Friday was 90s night at the ballpark. So they're playing a bunch of 90s music, and they play Closing Time from Semisonic when as he's warming up on the mound there to start the 9th. And he's like, you know what? We just put the shirt out. And then they start playing Closing Time in the ballpark. And I'm like, well, I can't screw this up now. And so he reaches back and pulls out 98, which he told me after the game fastest pitch he's ever thrown in competition.
That's awesome.
To get the final out of the game and seal game 1 for Auburn. So as much as I want to give pitcher of the week to Joseph Gonzalez, because I obviously do, it's Blake Burkhalter, pitcher of the week. And you can get that closing time shirt at aushirts.com.
Yeah, and I forgot that he pitched Tuesday too. I forgot about that. Why is he pitching midweeks? That doesn't make sense to me.
So typically you want to give your pitching staff an opportunity to throw a bullpen midweek. And Auburn was trying some different things, but ultimately did not want to lose that midweek game. And so they pulled him on, they brought him out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let him throw. That was a surprisingly close game. If I remember right, that game actually went to extras. That Alabama State game went to extras.
It was a walk. Nate LaRue walk off.
Nate LaRue walked it off. So yeah. So they went to extras because Blake Rambush had the game tying hit in the bottom of the ninth. So yeah, Burkhalter came in to keep the game close. Typically, you wouldn't use your closer in a midweek. You'd let him throw a bullpen after the game, but they needed to use him because they didn't want to lose that game. When you're looking at RPI, you're looking at postseason seeding, every victory matters. And then for those midweeks, it's more important to not lose a midweek, especially to a team outside the top 200 in RPI like Alabama State was. They came in, they had a great game plan. They had a pitcher that Auburn just couldn't pick up the changeup on, and it worked out for them. But Auburn's
they were just
4-0 this week.
They were excited about the D Davis news from the night before.
Yeah, they said, "Hey, we're getting D Davis. We're going out. We're avenging our boy.
Yeah, let's just take this." Yeah, right.
Yeah, and but no, Auburn's 4-0 this week. And as you head into Tennessee and then Arkansas, you're in a position where consensus is you need 18 conference wins to be able to host a regional. So Auburn has to pick up, I believe it's 7 wins over the next 4 series. So you've got 12 games. You need to win 7. And if you generously assume that they're going to take 1 game from the national number 1 Tennessee and the SEC West number 1 Arkansas, who as of Sunday is number 2 in the rankings, then if they get 1 game from each of those, they can go 5-1 against Alabama at home and Kentucky on the road and hit that magic number of 18 before you get into the SEC tournament.
That'd be wild. That'd be wild. And I just don't think they're going to get swept in Knoxville. And maybe I'm crazy. Seriously, maybe I'm just ignorant to this. But the fact that they get Arkansas at home is going to be really, really exciting.
That ballpark was very, very loud this weekend. I mean, I was there. Incredibly loud ballpark, capacity crowd on Saturday. And Tennessee, whether we like it or not, Tennessee has looked vulnerable. They were down to Florida today on Sunday as we record this. They lost that midweek. They dropped 1-3 to Alabama. And so recently, ever since they swapped to wood bats for that 1 midweek game, they've looked a little bit more unlike the Monstars and more just like a regular team.
Yeah, so a really good team instead of like a legendary team.
Exactly. They've just looked like they're really good versus being the best baseball team to ever play the sport in college.
Right.
So, yeah, you pick up a game in each series, and Auburn could win that Arkansas series. You've got 2 weeks between now and then. A lot can happen, whether it's injury, whether it's ineffectiveness, whether it's just Auburn gets hot and goes out against Kentucky. But if you can pick up 2 of those, and then you can sweep one of those 2 series, win the other one, you're hosting a regional.